So we are moving into this new month of August. August 1st is today. And I will make my usual spiel and say, can you believe it's August already? Can you believe that we're in a new month already? Can you believe that we are more than halfway through this year, almost 3/4 of the way through this year? Yes, that's true. And because we are into a new month, we have a new theme this month. And our theme this month is the kindness factor. The kindness factor. Yes, the kindness factor. That is a factor that we really need in our lives right now. That is a factor that we really need in this world right now. Kindness. Kindness being defined as a quality of generosity, of being considerate, of being loving, of being compassionate. Kindness. We need to see more and more and more of that in our lives today, in our world today. Kindness. We need to be kindness itself in our lives and in our world today. And so today, my topic is stop, look, listen. Stop, look, listen. And just a couple more words about kindness. You know, kindness, science has now shown that kindness has an impact on our health. It has an impact on our immune system. It enhances our immune system and it improves heart health. It also has an impact on the immune system of the person to whom we are extending kindness. It also has an impact on the immune system of people who observe kindness, who observe acts of kindness. It has a threefold impact. I think that's pretty awesome. It improves our immune system when we are practicing kindness and expressing kindness. It improves the immune system of the person to whom we are expressing kindness. And it improves the immune system of someone observing that. I think that's pretty powerful. That is pretty powerful. And I think that it's so important for us to be aware of it in our lives because that means that it's all around us. It's all around us. And one of the health benefits, one of the powerful things that kindness does, it releases, it helps to release a hormone called the love hormone of oxytocin. And what that does is it makes us more loving and makes us more, it reduces stress. It makes us more open and available. It just makes us more loving. And that reading, to be more loving in our hearts, I want to be more loving in my heart. It's just a powerful, powerful reading. And it just shows us that kindness and love go hand in hand. Love and kindness. Love requires kindness. Kindness requires love. You can't have one without the other. And so I invite you to just be in that place of generosity, be in that place of openness, be in that place of compassion, be in that place of being considerate, being in that place of oneness, because you know what kindness does is it heals that sense of separation. We can't be kind and separate too. We can't be kind and separate too. Kindness is unity. It requires unity. It requires us to have togetherness. It requires us to recognize our oneness with another person and our oneness with ourselves, because sometimes, you know, we even separate from ourselves. And so what we just want to do is not only set our intention to express kindness, set our intention to be kind, but set our intention to be kindness itself. To be kindness itself, so that when someone sees us, they see kindness. They know what kindness is just by being in our presence, because that's who we are. So just set your intention to allow kindness to be who you be. Who you be in the world is kindness. When someone sees you, they know what kindness is all about because that's who you be. And so that's what I'm inviting all of us to do today, to really, throughout this month, really, not only we're starting it this month consciously here, but just living our lives, setting our intention to be kindness itself, to be kindness itself. And so there are three things that are required to really bring that kindness factor into our lives. And that's where the topic comes in. The first thing is to stop. The first thing is to stop. When we stop, that means be still. And as that beautiful song was saying, or Gina was singing, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. When we do that, when we stop, when we be still, then that brings us back to God. When we be still, then that brings us to that place where we can take a breath and then just allow ourselves to be open and receptive to that one power, that one presence, that one mind, that one life, that one essence that is our very life. And when we can be still and return unto that one, then that's when we are in that place where kindness is who we be. That we are in that place where love is who we be. But we have to remember over and over again to stop. We have to remember over and over again to be still. We have to remember over and over again to return unto God, as I constantly say. We have to remember that over and over again. Be still and know that I am God. And whenever I hear that, I think of an experience that I had, and I've shared this with you before, but I'll share it again. That whole essence of be still and know that I am God. When I lived in California some years ago, I was going through an experience with someone that was a difficult time, and it was a little difficult to be kindness, and it was sort of hard to just be centered, to be anchored. And I was very, very disturbed by this issue that was going on with me and this other person. And so one day I decided that I was just going to change my bedroom around, and I was going to go out and buy a brand new comforter and buy new bedding and all that. And that was going to really make me feel better. And so I was on my way to, I was on the freeway. I was on my way to Macy's to buy a new comforter for my bed. And as I was driving down the freeway, I saw a big sign that I see every time I would go down that freeway. It said Ross Stores. And I had never been in a Ross store before. And I was just compelled to go to that Ross store. So I was a little irritated with myself because I couldn't figure out, well, why are you going to Ross? You want to go get the comforter, you want to go back home, you want to fix the bedroom. But I went anyway. I got off the freeway and I went into Ross, and I looked at the comforters. I didn't see anything I liked in there. And I walked to the back of the store, and one of the employees had just brought out all these different wall hangings and plaques and different things and put them on a shelf. And the last one there sticking up was one that said, be still and know that I am God. And I stopped dead in my tracks. I stopped, and it said, be still and know that I am God. I tried to ignore it, but my eyes were glued to it. And I knew instantly that that was the reason I had gone into Ross. That was the reason the Spirit had guided me into Ross. That was the reason that I was going looking for a comforter. Looking for a comforter. And here's this sign that says, be still and know that I am God. And obviously I bought it and I went back home. I didn't need to go to Ross then. I had the comforter that I had left home looking for. And so I took that sign home and I put it on the wall right across from my bed, so that when I opened my eyes in the morning, I would see it. And everywhere that I have lived since then, it hangs on the wall across from my bed, so that when I open my eyes in the morning and turn my head slightly to the right, it's hanging right there. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. And do you know that just having that comforter there in my bedroom, having that comforter with me all the time to remind me to be still, to remind me to stop, allowed me to release the stinging barb that the reading talked about. It allowed me to move away from that place of irritation and judgment and criticism and separation from this person with whom I had been having a challenge. It allowed me to let go of the thicket. That's what one of my favorite words, as you know, that Howard Thurman uses, is thicket. I love that word, thicket. My heart had gotten caught in the thicket of the disagreement that we were having, of judgment, the thicket of judgment and criticism, and what was I going to say next, and what was she going to do next, and all that stuff that we get caught up in, the thicket in which our hearts get caught. I was in it. I was in it without even realizing it. And then once I stopped and I became still, and I heard the words, be still and know that I am God, then it allowed me to just take a breath and just release. It allowed me to take a breath and just let go. It allowed me to return unto God. It allowed me to return unto my center. It allowed me to let go of that sense of separation. It didn't mean that the relationship changed in any way, but it changed within me. My heart changed. I became more loving in my heart. I became more open in my heart. And that's the important thing. And so as a result, I was able to really not only practice kindness, but to be kindness with regard to this other person. I was able to be kindness, even though it wasn't returned. And that's not what it's all about. We aren't looking for anything in return. We're just being who we are. We're just being what we were created to be, and that is love. We're just being love. When we're being kindness, we're being love. We're being love. And as the reading says, I want to be more loving in my heart. I want to be more loving so that I want to glow with a warmth that takes the chill off a room. Isn't that awesome? I want to glow with the warmth that takes the chill off a room. And that's what that releasing that irritation, releasing that criticism, releasing that judgment, releasing all that blame, releasing all that stuff, that thicket in which my heart had gotten caught. That's what that did for me. It allowed me to glow with the warmth that took the chill off the room. It allowed me to glow with that. And I remember that. And that is always my goal. That is always what I'm seeking. That is always what I'm open to. That is always my intention. To glow with a warmth that takes a chill off the room just by being kindness itself. And so that's what I'm inviting you to do. And so stopping, being still, knowing that the ground upon which you stand is holy ground. And when you know that for yourself, you know that the ground upon which anybody stands is holy ground. And when we recognize that, then we recognize our oneness. We recognize there's only one ground, and everywhere God is. And so the ground that everybody stands on is holy ground. And when we recognize that, then we can start to act like we are all standing on holy ground. We are all standing on holy ground. So that when we stop, we come to recognize that. And then that's when we get to the second prong, and that is look. Look around, look. Everybody wants to be seen. That's what every person wants, to be seen for who they really are. And sometimes the way people act, you would be surprised to know that what they really want is to be seen for who they really are, not for what they do, not for the way they act, but for who they really are deep within. And sometimes people have to act out in order to be seen, so they think. But what we want to do is to be able to look beyond the eyes. We want to look people in the eye. That's one of the things that masking gave us the opportunity to do this past year and a half that we don't always do, is looking people in the eye. But we want to look people in the eye and then look beyond the eye to the person that they were created to be, to who they really are, to that authentic person. Because we want people to look that way for us. Stop and look beyond the appearance. Stop and look beyond the words that they speak. Stop and look beyond the fact that they're not a part of our tribe. Because it's easy to be kind to those who are part of our tribe. It's easy to be kind to people we like. It's easy to be kind to people who believe the same things that we do. It's easy to be kind to people who say the things we like to hear. It's easy to be kind to those, but what about those people who say things that really get on your last nerve? It's not as easy to be kind. It's not as easy to be kind. And that's when we really have to take a deep breath. We really have to step back. We really have to return to that place of oneness, so that we can be anchored in the truth that we know, that there is only one life, that there is only one life. And when we are looking beyond the odds, we're looking to see God everywhere. God is everywhere present. There's as much God in that person that we are not wanting to deal with or not particularly liking as there is any place. The allness and the fullness of God is everywhere we look. The allness and the fullness of God is everywhere we look. And so it's our role to look beyond. It's our role to see God in everything. We used to sing that song as a congregation song at Creative Living Fellowship. I see God in everything. And so I'm inviting you, look for God in everything. Look for God in every situation. Look for God in every person. See God everywhere. Look beyond the appearances. Look beyond the appearances. Don't judge people by the appearance. Don't judge them by the way they act. And that doesn't mean that we allow people to be abusive, or we allow people to be in relationship with us if we are in disagreement with that. It just means that our hearts are open, that we are continuing to be more loving in our hearts, even as we decide, I don't want to be a part of this person's life or have to be a part of mine. But not from a place of closed-heartedness, but from a place of choice, from a place of conscious choice. I'm loving in my heart, and I'm making this conscious choice. I'm loving in my heart because I'm loving me too. I'm loving me and I'm loving you. And I can love you and be kind while we are not together, while we are separate, while we are not connected with each other on the physical plane, on the physical plane. So I'm inviting you to look beyond the appearance, look beyond the actions, look and see God everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And then the third prong, of course, is listen. Listen to our inner GPS system. We all have an inner GPS system. Listen to that inner GPS system. It will tell us what to do. It will show us what to do. It will guide us to take whatever action we need to take. It will guide us to those things that reveal kindness. It will guide us in how to act with others. It will guide us. It will guide us. It will show us. It will direct us to what it means to be kindness. To be kindness. Whenever I think about kindness, I think about, we used to talk a lot about random acts of kindness. I say be intentional kindness. Be intentional kindness. I think I talked once about be premeditated kindness. Premeditated kindness. When we have set our intention to be kind and to be kindness itself, we are premeditated kindness. So we are open to just being whatever it is God wants us to do, however it is God wants us to be, whatever it is God guides us to, whatever action God guides us to take. I'm thinking all of a sudden about a time that I was in Costco one day, and I was in, this is before COVID, of course, and I was pushing a cart down a narrow aisle, and there was a woman approaching me riding a cart, and we couldn't pass each other. So I backed up to let her by so that she wouldn't have to back up the cart that she was riding. I just backed up and went down another aisle and let her by. And she thanked me and she went on. And a few seconds, it seems later, she came back around to where I was standing in the aisle. And she said, I came back because you were so kind to let me through that aisle, that God told me to come back and bless you. And she was wearing a scarf. She took it off and she put it around my neck. And she said, she said, I make these scarves and I always bless them. And God told me to bring this scarf back to you and to bless you with this because you have been so kind to me today. I was honored. I was floored. I was so moved and so touched by that, because all I did was to just move my cart back so that she could get through the aisle. But that was really meaningful to her. That was really meaningful to her. It never occurred to me to not let her through, but it was a big thing to her. And she followed her inner GPS system and came back around and found me and brought that scarf and listened to that inner guidance and put that scarf around my neck. And then she said, God bless you. And then she left. That's how we follow premeditated kindness. That wasn't something that a random act of kindness. It wasn't random because God was guiding her. God was directing her, and she had to be kindness herself, be kindness itself in order to extend that kindness to me, in order to hear that guidance that she was getting, in order to follow that guidance that she was getting. And so that's what I'm inviting you to do today. Set your intention to be kindness and then practice premeditated kindness. Practice intentional kindness. Have the courage. Sometimes it takes courage to do that. Sometimes it takes courage to do that because it means stepping out of our comfort zone sometimes. Howard Thurman says it takes courage to strike out on a path I've not trod before. It takes courage. If you haven't tried a particular path before, try it. It takes courage. It takes strength sometimes because sometimes people don't receive it in the way that we intended. They don't receive it. They don't want it, whatever kindness we are extending. And that's fine because that has nothing to do with who we be. That has nothing to do with who we be. So set your intention to be kindness this day. Stop. Be still and know that I am God. Look beyond the appearances to the truth that there's only one life and one power and one presence, one God, one mind, one being. And then listen to that inner GPS. It never fails. It never fails. It always guides us. It always knows where we are. It always knows who we are. It always knows how to get where we need to go. It always knows whatever it is we need to know. And it's always guiding us and directing us. It's always guiding us and directing us to be the highest and the best that we can possibly be, to be that which we were created to be. We were created to be kindness. We were created to be love. We were created to be those revealers and delivery systems of God's love. And so that's what I'm inviting you today to do. Be kindness. Be kindness. Be kindness. Let's take a breath and turn within in this moment. And so just knowing and sensing and feeling that presence of God that is deep within each of us, knowing and sensing and feeling that presence of love that is deep within each of us, just knowing and sensing and feeling that which is inexhaustible, that which is infinite, that which is all there is, that which we call God, that which we call divine mind, that which we call divine intelligence, that which we call nothing at all. But just knowing that this source of our being is that within which I live and move and have my being as it lives and moves and has its being in me and in each of us. And so just knowing this truth, that it is that from which we can never be separate. Knowing this truth, I speak a word for each of us, speaking the word of kindness. Knowing that we are each created in an image and likeness and out of God itself. We are each created in an image and likeness and out of love itself. And love is kindness. It begets kindness. And so as we open our hearts and become more loving in our hearts, we release the stinging barb. We release anything that would block. We release anything that would hinder. We release anything that would be unlike that pure love. That would be unlike that pure love. That would be unlike pure love itself. We release it, we let it go. And we open ourselves up to that being that is love. And that love extends out from us, out into the universe, into all with whom we come in contact. Knowing that love heals. It heals our sense of separation. It heals our sense of separation from God. It heals our sense of separation from each other. It heals our sense of separation. And it moves us into that place of oneness. And as we're in this place of oneness, all things are made new. There's newness and healing in our body temples. Anything that is unlike that loving, healing presence of God is dissolved in anybody. Every organ, cell, tissue, function of everybody is responding to that radiant, healing presence of God. In our bodies of affairs, Anything that appears to be lacking, anything that appears to be limited in any way, is released, is dissolved by that perfect presence of God, that is all-consuming presence of God. Everything that is erased, all things are made new by this healing presence of God, by this loving presence. And God, the great comforter, comforts those who have lost loved ones, comforts those who have had loss of any kind. That great healing presence, that great loving presence, the great comforter is constantly saying to each of us, be still and know that I am God. That's all we ever need to know. Be still and know that I am God. And as we do this, healing takes place in our lives and it goes out from us into the world. I bless our government officials, just knowing that they have inner guidance systems, inner GPS systems, and they are following, they're guided to follow that inner GPS system that is guiding them to take actions and make decisions that are for the highest and best. For all. And all things are made new by this inner GPS system guiding everything. This prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, knowing that right where each of them is, God is blessing and keeping them. And as I open this circle of prayer, I pause momentarily so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently aloud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them. That healing is happening in each life right now. For God is in the midst. I know indeed that all is well, for I know indeed that all is God. For this, I am so grateful. For this truth, I'm truly thankful. I know indeed that all is well. Thank you, God. And so it is.